Hello, audience. I want to begin by giving you a full disclaimer about today's episode. I've been approached by my legal team with some concerns. So, despite repeated requests for both legal and ethical reasons, I regret to inform you that today's episode will not be pumpkin spiced. I don't care about your season. I don't like it. Now that necessary ugliness is out of the way, welcome to the Definitive Yo-Yo. I'm simply Mike, and today we're going to have a look at Unparalleled's latest. This is Unparalleled's Coglite, a tweaked and updated version of the bimetal cognition. But the cognition was bimetal as well. So let's just have a look at it. This is also part of our Better with Bimetal series, so keep an eye open. The beginnings of this particular yo-yo can be traced all the way back to the Ignition, which I believe was their second release. The Ignition gave way to the Cognition, which is a more stretched out version in terms of width, which allowed for an increased execution of tricks. And it made quite the wave. I remember a lot of people like this yo-yo. From the Ignition to the Cognition came the Recognition, which is a monometal version of the Cognition. This thing was super popular, and I even had one myself. A lot of colors and a lot of sales. I think it was one of their most popular throws. I remember calling it a tight little situation because this thing was jam-packed with all that yo-yo goodness. I don't know what Colin's input is for the design of these yo-yos, but I'm pretty sure he lends a little street cred to these projects. It's not all in the ring bimetals over at Unparalleled. There's also the Nostalgia, which has its bimetal material on the leading edge. Pretty nice. But here we have today's situation. But let's check the stats. Noteworthy is the material, $7075, but it is a little pricey at $110, especially against the market nowadays. And the yo-yo is very familiar. I'll say this, if you've played with the Recog, then you know exactly what this is about. I did a review of this a little while ago, and I'll say this, if you already had the Recognition, then you don't need the Coglite. But if you missed the Recog or you sold it for whatever reason, then this is a solid upgrade. Which naturally leads to the inevitable question, Coglite or Recog? Well, we'll touch on that a little later. But I'm glad to see FPM is still doing work. They do work for Unparalleled, Yo-Yo Friends, Sternpanzer, and a few others. Nice to see them on with this. I'll answer the question after I talk a little bit about its play. So this thing plays very familiar to the Recognition. I mean, it's almost the exact same footprint and play dynamic. It plays very familiar. However, it is a little slippery on the bind. I don't know if that's my string or the yo-yo itself, but I had quite a few problems, which I'm about to demonstrate in just 1 second. Ooh, don't try that at home, kids. Almost cost me a ceiling fan. Honestly, it might be the string. I'll try some thicker string in a little while, but the yo-yo itself hasn't given me much problem at all. It is that very tight little situation, and although I don't have the Recognition anymore, I regretted getting rid of it, but this, I'm holding on to this. It plays very, very, very nicely, and it's well balanced. Catching is easy. I'm not having done any finger spins on it or whatever, but it's definitely one of my favorites from Unparalleled, beside the Corruption, of course. Glad to see Unparalleled is still putting in work. I plan on keeping this because I got rid of the Recog and I regretted it. And that's the review, but check out what we get into for next time. Already did these, and break time is almost upon us. I'm going to be reviewing the last mono metal that I'm touching for this year. And I'm going to point out what these two guys have in common. That review will be up in just a second. In the meantime, this has been the Coglite review by Unparalleled. I'm simply Mike, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.